All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another open live Q&A. It is Super Bowl Sunday, and I decided, you know what? Why don't I go live earlier today rather than I remember the last couple of years, I actually still went live because I used to do my live streams at 9 p.m. And the reason why I went live at 9 p.m. was because I was always trying to do it once my children went to sleep. But now they're a little bit older and they don't go to bed as fast. So 9 p.m. came a little bit more difficult, and I was like, you know what? Let's go and try to do this as my littlest one is trying to take a nap. And I figured, you know, this is such a great idea. Why did I never think about this early before? I was always rushing home from Super Bowl Sunday to make sure I could do the live stream at 9 p.m. And nobody ever would usually show up, at least my United States or my heavy United States audience. I know a lot of people from all over the world watch the Super Bowl, or at least are just doing something else, from that regard. But I wanted to join on here in case you guys had any questions, and also to remind you that any math questions that you guys submit at brianmclogan.com/Q&A, I am going to get to on my other channel, which is my free math videos channel, which I will go ahead and post in the link here in just a second. For those of you that are interested in all of those math type questions that a lot of you guys submit, like, hey, how do you do this? Or, hey, can you solve this problem for me? I have stopped trying to put them into on these live streams because I really just like conversing with you guys and getting your questions answered from what you guys are posting inside the chat. And doing math questions from the chat is very, very difficult. So that's why I decided I want to go ahead and put those math streams or me answering math questions all on a separate channel, which I put in the chat, which I'll also go ahead and pin for you guys. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get that all straight away. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put them down into the chat and I'll do my best. If you have a math question though, something like, hey, can you help me with this problem? Or I don't know where to start, then go ahead and put that at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I will go ahead and put the link up there. Where is it? Join, not that, have a question. There we go. brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I'll do my best to go ahead and get those answers questions. So let's go ahead and get into the chat, see what questions you guys have for me on this Super Bowl Sunday, and I will try to do my best. All right. Hey, Ash, Ocean Tide, your videos help me out. Well, awesome. So happy to help you out. Hey, Amazing Tech Gaming, New Marinator, Araf, good to have you on. Oh, Ash, yours first. I love how you make math easier. Well, awesome. That is my goal, is making math accessible to everybody to be able to have a better understanding and also to be able to gain confidence in math. So I really appreciate your comment and knowing that I am providing value to you guys. This is a tough one. How do you memorize all the definitions and theorems and postulates for geometry? You know what? One thing that I was kind of against when I first started teaching geometry was creating a kind of like a booklet of all the theorems and postulates and stuff like that. But I really do think it is helpful for students to be able to kind of keep things organized and just to kind of remember them. And something you can always use to, one, you can use it to refresh yourself. Like as you're doing your homework or studying, you always have them like in a nice, neat, organized area, like a little booklet that you create or like a cheat sheet. And I think just constantly reviewing them throughout the year, doing a spiral review, not just doing it for whatever was going on for that certain chapter and then forgetting about them, but consistently going over them and reviewing them and applying them, doing problems that are related to them is going to help them stick in your memory. So therefore, when it is time for you to apply them, like on a test or a quiz, when they're not available to you, then you can easily recall them from your brain. Hey, Harley Hayes, do you have any study tips? I have a ton of study tips, and I have a couple more videos that are going to be coming out. We're getting deeper into some studying tips, but you can already see some videos that I have regarding studying. Just to kind of give you some quick things, I would say make sure you plan out your study sessions. Try to be consistent and do more of them more often than trying to do like a 4-hour cram session. And I think that if you can be organized, like reviewing problems and doing problems, not just like creating a cheat sheet of all the important information, but then also practicing problems and not just practicing problems that your teacher gave you, but try to do some more difficult problems to really get a better understanding of the content. I think that will help you study for any test or quiz you have coming up. How do you get better at math despite trying your hardest? Well, you know what? I think there might be a fallacy in the way that you are and thinking of that you're getting better at math. You are getting better at math. You're trying, right? And so I think you need to take into some consideration with that. And you might be saying, I want to be better, right? But it might just not be something that you are capable of at this current moment in time. And That's okay. Just keep on working on getting better. And I know grades playing a factor and, and everything else, but you're, as long as you're making progress, as long as you are trying, you're making improvement. And I want you just to continue doing that. I think we run into the fallacy of like, we have to get A's or we have to be the best no matter how much hard work and everything else we're put into it. And of course, there's things that we could probably adjust and we could probably get into more details of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how we could like adjust that. But I just want you to put you in the mindset of like, do the best you can do and keep working at it. And you will make progress over time. And that time might be a week, it might be a month, it might be not at the end of the school year when grades are due, unfortunately. But you can learn math and you can keep on getting better. Just keep on working at it. But so that's a little bit more of a broader answer from there. I just don't want you to hold so much weight on what you mean by the feeling like you're just not getting your best or not getting the A. Because unfortunately, it's not always going to be possible for every person at every time, at every moment in time. Mozam Abasi, it's 11:35 here. How about study sets and functions in half an hour? Well, I don't really have much time, but if you want to go ahead and submit it to me at brianmclogan.com/Q&A, I'll be more than happy to get into it for you. I have to understand my conic sections from you. Oh, awesome. I have a lot of videos on conic sections. Why did you stop teaching? Now, there's a lot of questions, a lot of things that go into the stop teaching, but let's go and break it down into a couple things. One, I was kind of getting just burned out of teaching in the classroom. I taught everything from algebra 1 through calculus, and my main thing was pre-calculus, and I just wasn't enthusiastic about teaching it anymore. Pandemic kind of influenced that a little bit, but it was just, I think the only thing that would have got me excited would be teaching calculus again, but I'm not going to say like I quit because I couldn't teach calculus. Like we had a great master teacher that was always teaching it. I was just kind of burned out with that. And then the other thing is, besides that, like my family life, like we had our third daughter. So there was a lot, a lot going out and in that regard and, a lot at home. And so I just I needed to have more time, for my family. And I wanted to focus more on YouTube because, teaching takes up so much of your time. So it was taking away time for my family with my young kids. And then also, it was, it was leaving me not a lot of time where I could focus on making new videos on YouTube. And so that's where I decided I wanted to, have the time to be able to focus on those two things. So that's kind of two reasons for stepping away from the classroom. My least favorite topic in pre-calculus. Probably, I don't know, probably parametric and polar equations, just because we didn't really go deep into my class with it. Or limits, because like you want to go deeper, but it's like it's very limited section. So it's just kind of like surface level stuff. And so we didn't really get like an application of how and why we're using stuff. It's just like, hey, you need to learn this stuff. Here's the basics, and it's going to be on your test. And it was just kind of like teach it because I had to teach it. But there was no real big unit connection I can make like the other chapters in pre-calculus. Go submit that at brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I'll be more than happy to help you out with that. Probably love fast my down, so bad math. What's the best way to study for my English math? I don't know. I hate English. I'm horrible at writing. So I would not be the person to ask for that. Practice. I'm not a human calculator, but there's a ton of people that are extremely good with doing math calculations in their head, and there's books that are written on it. So I would go ahead and check out those books that are written on it. And go and, see how to do mental calculations in your head. And I guarantee you will learn a lot from them. Any tips to stop striving for perfection on tests and quizzes? I don't know why I get so upset with myself when I make silly mistakes on assessments, especially for math. Yeah, it's tough. And I don't think I have a great answer for that. I mean, I think it just comes to the realization of, what you're looking to achieve, with each and every grade. And like, there's going to be mistakes. And if you're always searching for perfection, you're going to get failure. I mean, I think it just kind of comes a little bit with time and a little bit maturity and realizing what you want to focus the most on and what's truly the most important. Mistakes and failures are going to happen. They're a part of the learning process. So, it's easier to say than to actually than do, you know? It's like, I know I remember failing and struggling and making stupid mistakes and feeling horrible about them. But I think through time, it just gets easier, you know, from on there. So kind of a grown up answer, but through time, it gets better. Honestly, in my opinion, the best way to study math is just to practice and practice. It doesn't require magic. Yeah, but if you're just practicing, you know, not all practice is equal. I'll put it to you that way. So you want to make sure you're practicing problems that you got wrong, practicing problems that you know how to do, that you are reviewing, right? I think you should be um, also practicing to challenge yourself as well. A lot of students say, I practice, practice, practice. I spend hours practicing and I still fail my test. Well, I don't think you challenge yourself in the right to be prepared for that test. So not all practice is equal. And I do think that, yeah, a lot of it is just having that muscle memory of applying the information that you have been taught is very, very helpful to prepare for tests and quizzes. So our class will never forget you. We did not have a math teacher back in grade 9, and we were putting your videos on the data show, and that helped a lot. The base I now have in math is all you. Well, awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. So when I stepped away, my YouTube revenue was able to replace my teacher revenue, put it to you that way. So now, I mean, obviously there's a lot more benefits. Like my insurance was much better when I was a teacher, and retirement stuff like that. So, you know, now I have to do all that kind of stuff on my own. But yeah, my YouTube has been able to surpass the teaching revenue, which is nice. Go ahead and submit that at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I mean, you can look up, I mean, standard, I think, you know, we were very average in Florida, you know, I think it was like just making like mid 40s, in Florida. Um, okay. So for AP exam, my advice would be to practice, do as many practice problems as possible. Practice, 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 practice. That's the best way, in my opinion, to prepare for those exams, is to do as many practice problems as you can. Well, thank you, Rod. I appreciate that. Yes, I need to. I apologize. I need to get to it, but I'll also be putting a lot of those on my calculus channel, FYI. So if you go on my main channel, my main channel board, you'll see there's a calculus section. I'll be putting more videos up there. Awesome. Good to work. And yes, my daughter, I think, hurt her wrist. So I think I need to tend to her early, and might have to end this live stream just a little bit earlier than I usually do. And did you teach college? No, I never taught in college. I taught in high school in Jacksonville, Florida, and 9th through 12th grade. For ACT is the same thing with the AP exam. Practice. Get as many of those booklets and stuff like that, and practice, 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 guys. That's the best way I think you can do, is preparing, seeing how those types of questions are asking. That is the best way I think you can prepare for those ACT, SATs, stuff like that. So, all right, guys, Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to end this live stream a lot earlier than I usually do. But again, if you have questions, go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And if you want to go and see those math live streams, then go and check out the free math videos YouTube channel that I'll be posting those live streams as well as additional videos on. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll see you next week. Cheers.